In the news tonight,
we are monitoring all our systems at all levels.
Anxiety in Kenya as electoral body's head Wafula Chebukati admits a delayed vote counting process.
When court summons you, you are supposed to come to attend court.
The principal judge, Dr. Flavian Zeja, advises judges to arrest witnesses who refuse to testify in sexual offences trials.
Because they are receiving the project with total support.
Don't miss a shillings 30.3 billion World Bank and Junior Road project in Hoima City taking shape as tarmacking of several roads starts.
Brilliant from Mo Salah, and still.
And in sports, English Premier League returns tomorrow as all 20 teams play their second game. All eyes set on the London derby between Chelsea and Tottenham Hotspurs. At exactly 9 p.m., PM Edition comes to you live on your screen to bring you the latest stories that made news both from the local and international scene. Good evening, I am Kalachi Brian. Joining me for sign language interpretation is Isaac Richards. Tonight we start from the neighbor in the east, that is Kenya. Kenya's electoral head has admitted he feels the process of verifying results from Tuesday's vote is taking too long. Wafula Chebukati's comment comes nearly 3 days after polls closed with the outcome of the presidential election still not known. He blamed party agents for slowing things down as results sent digitally are being matched to paper originals. Media tallies show the two leading candidates, Raila Odinga and William Ruto, are toe-to-toe. But it is only the Electoral Commission that can declare the winner, and it has 7 days to do so. Earlier, the electoral chief emphasized there was no need to panic when seeing differences in tallying numbers, as they would look similar in the end. There's a sense of anxiety in the country as disputed elections in the past have led to violence or the whole process being cancelled. Following the 2007 vote, at least 1,200 people were killed and 600,000 fled their homes following claims of a rigged election. In 2017, huge logistical errors led to the Supreme Court to annul the result and order the presidential poll to be rerun. Officials are under pressure to get it right this time. Moving on, youth leaders have been asked to move out of their comfort zones and start their nation and communities into a direction they want. This comes as a section of MPs lash out at government for postponing the International Youth Day celebrations to the end of the month. Bweju County MP Francis Mwijuche says organizing Youth Day celebrations is not government's duty. And we have more.
The youth make 78% of the country's population, with the majority below the age of 30 years. A section of these youth expected to celebrate the International Day today, only for government to have it postponed.
This, by all other indicators, may show that we do not necessarily prioritize these youth-related issues. So we want to request and resolve that this must be the last time.
If this was Tarehe Sita celebration, they would have not postponed. If this was Heroes Day celebration, they would have not postponed. Funds would be made available. But when it comes to youth issues, funds are not available.
They fault government for taking them for granted. The youth leaders want government to formulate policies that facilitate youth development and skills. A report by Twaweza East Africa indicates that 87% of the youth desire to start their own businesses, but most of them have no startup capital, while others lack the necessary skills.
Even in these current times post-COVID, young people are very optimistic. We see that if they were given a cash gift of 350,000, 87% say that they would start a business. Now, isn't that really a clear sign that young people are quite enterprising and optimistic?
To intensify the skilling trainings of the young people. Because if we are trained, we get those skills, they will empower the young people to be job creators as opposed to becoming job seekers.
At least let each constituency have a technical school so that we can promote the skills of our people.
Bohej Member of Parliament Francis Mwijche says the youth have a potential to organize their activities without waiting for government.
They should not be begging. I'm actually surprised that the youth leaders are begging government. That the youth in this country, who are the majority, are just begging. Government would be running, looking for young people. But incidentally, the youth, specifically the youth leaders, have given in this power over the young people. And that's why they are begging, please come and help us celebrate. Do you even need the government to celebrate? If I was a youth leader, I would declare tomorrow is International Youth Day, we shall be celebrating. Whether government is with us or not, we shall celebrate.
According to Mwijche, it is high time the youth stood up to steer the country into a direction they want.
Until the youth realize their potential and harness it for development, and harness it for services, and harness it for justice, and harness it for development, they will continue to live as slaves irrespective of their potential.
This year's celebrations are hinged on promoting intergenerational solidarity to create a world for all ages. Ramson Mihire, CTV PM edition.
Following the death of a UCU student during a scuffle between supporters of Makerere University Guild candidates, the university suspended the election until further notice. To date, the University Council has not lifted the suspension. National Unity supporters, whose candidate was likely to win, want the elections to be held. The ruling National Resistance Movement, Derek Orone, believes he will win the election. We have more.
The NUP supporters were at their headquarters in Kamocha to mark the International Youth Day. Various party leaders criticized Makerere University Council for indefinitely suspending the exercise. They say that by denying students to choose their leaders, they are indirectly appointing the Vice-Chancellor to serve as the Guild President. Frank Kabuye, the Kasanda South MP, who is the coordinator of NUP supporters in higher institutions of learning, condemned government for advising the youth to focus on poorly implemented programs like the parish development model, instead of creating avenues that would give the youth meaningful employment.
We are neglected by the film or by the way we domesticated the film to the parish development model. It leaves out many people or many youths because first of all, the parish development model, it is focusing on agriculture mainly.
According to Butebi Zake, the Mityana municipality MP, much of the dozens of youthful NP supporters are languishing in jails. The youth should not give up on the struggle to liberate Uganda. He says attempts to bribe them to give up on the struggle should not divert them because they will provide them short-term monetary and material gains.
Whenever you hear about abductions, they face young people first. Whenever anything happens, they first have to arrest young people. Whenever any kind of protest has happened, they first have to go for the young people. Whenever you hear of people who they have taken to prisons, it is the young people.
Waiswa Mufumbiro, the party deputy spokesman, said it's unfortunate for a ruling party like NRM to believe that Ugandans will give up on their goals when they are enticed with bribes and jobs.
Look, go back and see how much your fathers have invested in your education, but what are they going to reap out of your education? To get a degree, you must have over 50 million shillings now in Uganda.
Hope Nyongereza, CTV PM edition.
Now, the principal judge, Dr. Flavian Zeja, has advised judges and magistrates to arrest witnesses that refuse to testify in court cases before cases related to sexual offenses. Zeja was speaking during a training of magistrates and judges who are said to handle over 2,000 cases of gender-based violence next week.
Since the judiciary started conducting special court sessions for sexual gender-based violence cases in 2018, over 2,000 cases have been disposed of in 4 sessions. Among the commonly registered sexual gender-based violence cases include rape, sexual assault, physical assault, forced marriage, among others. According to prosecutors, sexual gender-based violence cases are mostly registered in Gulu, Mbale, Mukono, Jinja, Iganga, Masaka, Mbara, and Toro. Among the key factors leading to the increased cases of sexual gender-based violence include cultural norms, poverty, drug abuse, among others.
Some cultural practices that we are also trying to fight. This such is actually prevalent in Karamoja, even up to today, that young girls are just captured and given to men. So that's one of the things, one of the indicators as we handle SGBV, that cases, regions of Karamoja and Gulu, we find that so many defilement cases, and the people actually say they're not defilement, they are married.
Due to the sensitivity of sexual gender-based violence cases, delays are registered since some witnesses decline to testify in court. This is why the principal judge, Dr. Flavia Nzeija, says there is need for tough action.
When court summons you to come to court, if you refuse, you are in contempt of that court. So, and contempt of court is an offense itself. So you are arrested, actually. Summons is a serious thing. I know the public sometimes doesn't appreciate this, but when court summons you, you are supposed to come to attend court.
Under circumstances where a family member has to testify on a victim who is a family member, the principal judge has an opinion.
But sometimes also the girl, they can also intimidate the girl, or so they refuse to come to court to testify, meaning that the case will collapse because there are no witnesses, but they have already been compromised. So we arrested them, not really to keep them in prison, because we know they don't understand these things. So when we bring them to court, after testifying, we just let them go.
It is with such background that prosecution has found it hard to compel witnesses to testify in court, which is a challenge. They say the problem can be addressed by the enactment of the Witness Protection Act.
We have gone ahead to actually create a department that handles witness protection. We have also gone ahead to get guidelines in place. We have guidelines that help us. So if the law came, it would really find that the structures are already in place.
Stakeholders in the fight against sexual gender-based violence are undergoing a training on how to handle such cases. These include police, judicial officers, Director of Public Prosecutions Office, and the Ministry of Gender. This is done as judiciary awaits to handle over 2,000 SGBV's cases, starting from August 15th in 10 high courts and 4 magistrate courts in areas of Masaka, Nebi, Bara, Kamli, Kitigum, Rengo, Nakasongola, among others. Flavia Ninkuze for CTV, PM Edition.
Now, a gentleman in Lebanon held a bank staff hostage for refusing to give him his money. Find out about that story after the break. Welcome back to PM Edition. I am Kalachi Bryan with Isaac Richards on Sign Language. The construction of tarmac roads in Hoima City is changing the face of the city with improved traffic flow and livelihood, which will spur development. 10 new roads will be constructed with funding from the World Bank and the government of Uganda. Take a look.
For years, Hoima town residents grappled with dust and potholes on various roads. With the discovery of oil in the Albertine region, infrastructure in nearby towns like Hoima is being revamped. Innocent Imbisiwe, the Hoima City Town Clerk, says a number of roads are being tarmacked under the Uganda National Roads Authority program. He adds that 7 other roads under Batch 1 are being constructed by the World Bank funded Uganda support to municipal infrastructure development project at 30.3 billion shillings.
We have roads under the UNRA, or what we normally call the oil roads, and we have roads under the USMID project. All the road works are in advanced stages. Contractors are on ground. For the oil roads, we have contracts running under SICO, and the USMID batch 1 is under China Railway number 18.
IMBC says that the road works, which started 7 months ago, will be upgraded from gravel to bitumen standards.
But out of community engagement, sensitization, there has been total support and willingness. People have shifted their properties willingly. You can testify this. When you get to Tayari Road, you'll see all the perimeter walls on the lower side. People have shifted them on no pay because they are receiving the project with total support. So we have not received any serious challenge that would be seen as a setback to the project.
The roads being constructed are Satito Mandela Kasasa Road, Pase Commercial Road, and Tayari Crown Eka Road. Others are Sakura Road, Bikunya Road, and Tankil Kampara Road.
For separation purposes, I can tell you how the roads are separating, all the projects, all the batches are separating. When you get post office here, that road going up to regional police headquarters and the court, and then this one passing down, that's where what we can have as a starting point of batch 1.
The constructors are currently doing common excavation and relocating utility facility lines.
We are in 30-35 because we have finished sub-grade on Bikunya Road. We have also finished sub-grade on Kamandera Road and Pase Road, which is in the city center. And the formation, we are on formation in both the government road and Tayari Road. That is where we are.
The roads, once complete, will add on the already 10-kilometer paved roads under the World Bank funded Uganda support to municipal infrastructure development project. Huntington Kasasa, an activist, and Abdurashid Mugenyi, a resident in Hoima City, says the roads will reduce dust and improve traffic flow in the town.
It will reduce on the jam which was here on this main street, whereby if someone is to go to the Fort Portal Road, will have to branch from here. This road leads to, it drops to Fort Portal Road, and even the food we are getting inside the market will be in good stable.
Tukusima Chinese railway number 18 habwamani gate iriyo kandi tukusaba batakangira hano bongere no kusaba tenders ezindi.
All these roads will connect the town to the oil drilling areas via the paved 92-kilometer Hoima Kiso Tonya Road, which leads to the industrial park in Buseruka sub-county.
Operators of drug shops have been urged to cooperate with the National Drug Authority to ensure that safe drugs are sold to members of the public. National Drug Authority has been carrying out a 5-day operation in Lobaga Division in Kampala to weed out illegal drug shops. Take a look.
Samuel Chomukama, the National Drugs Heads of Enforcement, says the enforcement was a follow-up of the February 2022 enforcement activity that is aimed at protecting members of the public. He says that they found out some drug outlets were being managed by unqualified persons, which is deadly.
NDA compliance enforcement activities are aimed at protecting the human and animal population from drugs and healthcare products that are substandard counterfeit, and unauthorized, and to control unlicensed drug outlets as well as unqualified persons handling medicines.
He said out of the 80 outlets that were inspected, 20 clinics and 22 drug shops were closed. One person who was hawking drugs was arrested, according to Chamkama.
80 outlets were inspected, which included 3 pharmacies, 49 human drug shops, 2 veterinary drug shops, and 24 clinics. A total of 21 clinics and 22 drug shops were closed. A total of 144 boxes of assorted drugs estimated at 150 million.
Dr. James William Tamale, the head of Kampala Extra Region, says they go to the field after carrying out intelligence on clinics and drug shops that are operating illegally.
It's done by our officers on the ground day to day, which is intelligence gathering or ensuring that the people we regulate are complying with with the regulations and the laws.
Dr. Tamale urged drug dealers to follow NDA regulations, adding that no one without the licenses from the drugs regulator is allowed to sell drugs or even advertise them.
Anyone who is dealing in medicines ought to do so in compliance with the laws that are set and that they know.
He says dealers whose drugs were confiscated should claim them from the NDA within 6 months.
That person has to come to the offices here so that they regularize the issues that were found out.
Safi Mokele Baluku and Kenneth Kamyuke for CTV PM Edition.
Ugandans doing business with Turkey have requested the Turkish embassy in Uganda to relax some visa restrictions. This was during their engagement with the honorary consul to Turkey, Emek Eka. The details.
Statistics from the Turkish embassy in Uganda show that there is a growing interest in trade with Turkey. A section of Ugandan traders is making Turkey their business destination to import and export various products. Currently, the two countries are trying to boost trade and investment ties. The trade volume between the two nations stands at $40 million. To cement the relationship, the Honorary Council to Turkey has met with Ugandan traders under their body Kampala City Traders Association. Ugandan traders asked EKL to revise some visa restrictions which make their travel hard.
And that policy, we as Ugandans, the little we can do is to soften a bit, request for softening a bit to enable Ugandans work with Turkey and travel to Turkey, do business, then come back.
Now, after the pandemic season, the transport conditions is changed, and Turkey has a big cane manufacturer in the world, and we are exporting and we are sharing with our experience with you.
The engagement also focused on the boosting trade relations and promoting modern agriculture of both countries.
Ugandans, as a country, you have to believe your potentials. Uganda is you call it Pearl of Africa, which is true actually. Everything is magic in here: air, soil, you got the water, you have the manpower. That's why you need to believe that Uganda or other African countries is going to be the future of the world.
One of the things I think that can facilitate is if we can get a means of helping our traders who are interested in importing from Turkey or coming to explore the market in Turkey to easily facilitate the visa process.
Recently, President Museveni requested Turkish investors to cooperate with Ugandans to access Ugandan products. The traders from both countries are planning joint business forum slated next month.
Away from Uganda, in South Africa, police have arrested 20 people alleged to have been involved in instigating the July 2021 riots that left several people lifeless. And the African Centers for Disease Control and Prevention are on a hunt to secure monkeypox vaccines for Africa amid an increase of reported cases. The details. Police arrested 20 people in South Africa on suspicion of being among the instigators of riots that left more than 350 people dead in July 2021, the worst violence since the end of apartheid. According to a police statement, the Thursday arrests were made simultaneously in several provinces across the country after a police investigation into incitement to violence on social media during that period. The 20 suspects are due to appear in a court in the eastern city of Durban on Friday on charges ranging from conspiracy to commit public violence to inciting public violence and inciting arson. In July 2021, the country experienced a wave of rioting and looting in Johannesburg and the eastern province of KwaZulu-Natal, which left more than 350 people dead. Initially triggered by the imprisonment of former President Jacob Zuma, who was convicted of contempt of court, the violence was also a sign of a tense social and economic climate. The slow pace of bringing the perpetrators to justice is frustrating not only the relatives of the victims, but also many South Africans whose country has one of the highest crime rates in the world. More than 8,000 incidents were reported to the police, leading to 5,500 arrests, and 2,434 cases are still awaiting prosecution. Africa's Public Health Agency says the continent of 1.3 billion people still does not have a single dose of a monkeypox vaccine, but discussions were underway with at least 2 partners. The acting director of the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Ahmed Ogwell, told journalists that he could not give the details, but said the partners are largely multilateral institutions and non-African governments. He also said there are no discussions with the private sector because all available doses have already been bought by countries. More monkeypox deaths have been reported on the African continent this year than anywhere in the world. Since May, nearly 90 countries have reported more than 31,000 cases. At least 2,947 monkeypox cases have been reported in 11 African countries this year, including 104 deaths, but the Africa CDC director said most of the cases reported are suspect ones because the African continent also lacks enough diagnostic resources for thorough testing. The lack of vaccine doses and shortage of diagnostics is an echo of the challenges that Africa's 54 countries faced for months during the COVID-19 pandemic, as richer countries elsewhere raced to secure supplies. Away from Africa, in Lebanon, a bank staff hostage taker has been held a hero by citizens and netizens for fighting for what belongs to him. And reports confirm the FBI searched for classified nuclear documents at Trump's Mar-a-Lago home. However, no confirmation has been made of whether the weapons belong to the US or another country. Have a look. A Lebanese man who took a bank hostage in order to access his own money is being hailed as a hero by the public in Beirut.
Where is my right? Where is my money? I worked, and many millions of Lebanese people, they worked abroad. They worked in the Lebanese economy. They saved their money. They put them in the bank. The legal, they are not with us. The politics is not with us. The banks is not with us.
Bassam al-Sheikh Hussein, a 42-year-old food delivery driver, stormed the Federal Bank branch in the capital to withdraw a part of his frozen savings of $210,000 to help pay for his father's hospital bill. According to AFP news agents, Hussein entered the bank with a rifle, poured petrol and demanded his money. Following a 7-hour standoff, he was arrested and taken out of the bank with no injury being reported. LBC TV channel reported that the armed man surrendered after he was allowed to take $35,000 of his savings up front. Dozens of protesters gathered outside the bank during the standoff and chanted, "You are a hero." The hostage taker represents the anger of a wider public whose savings accounts have been frozen for over 3 years due to the economic crisis. Banks have allowed depositors only token withdrawals of dollars each month that are insufficient to meet the most basic of needs. Mariam Chehadi, Hussein's wife, who was standing outside, told reporters that her husband did what he had to do. Hussein's brother Atef, also standing outside the bank, defended his brother. Notably, this was the second incident of bank siege reported this year. In January, another angry depositor doused customers in a regional bank with fuel and demanded his savings. He too was successful. The country is in the midst of one of the world's most severe economic crises. Apart from the cost of living crisis and shortages of wheat and medicines, Lebanon's local currency has lost more than 90% of its value since 2019. According to the UN, around 4/5 of the population lives in poverty. The Federal Bureau of Investigation agents who raided Donald Trump's Florida house, Mar-a-Lago, were searching for classified documents on nuclear weapons, the Washington Post reported, citing people familiar with the investigation. Attorney General Merrick Garland on Thursday said that he personally authorized the raid after seeking permission for a search warrant, but did not discuss the investigation in great detail. The Post, quoting officials, didn't provide further details of the specific information sought by the agents in the raid. They also did not disclose whether the documents were related to weapons from the US or some other country. They also refused to answer if such documents were recovered as part of the search, but they expressed apprehension that such documents said to be possessed by Trump have the potential to fall into the wrong hands. But the people closely involved in the raid told the New York Times that the documents were so sensitive and important to national security that the Justice Department had no choice but to try and retrieve them. The FBI is being increasingly attacked by conservative politicians seeking an explanation from the Justice Department on what warranted the search. In a late-night post on his Truth Social platform on Thursday, Trump said that he would not oppose the release of documents. He added that the Justice Department had filed in court a request that the search warrant and property receipt from the search be unsealed. It has argued for unsealing the search warrant, citing the intense public interest presented by a search of a residence of a former president. As we take a short break and return with sports news.